So, look, to be absolutely fair, if my two best friends were a literal god and the most racist man on the planet, then I think I'd become a smoker too. Time to be drinking, buddy, Shoko! That's a joke. I don't condone smoking. Drinking, on the other hand... That's right, you see the title. Gojo, Geto, and Shoko are the real main characters of the show. Or at least, they could have been. Cause in my opinion, the Gojo flashback arc was the best thing that Jujutsu Kaisen has given us so far. Sure, Shibuya is pretty damn good right now, but in terms of themes and character writing, I think we can acknowledge that the hidden inventory arc was where we saw those shine. When you watch season 1, who was the one person everyone mainly wanted to see? Who was the character that some people watched the show for in the first place? It was Gojo, the honored one, the chosen one, the simped over one. To be fair, another good guess would have been Sukuna, because he's pretty, radical too. But Gojo's popularity is on another level. The amount of Gojos you see in conventions nowadays is infinite. Infinite domain? Most of the characters in season 1 are super good, but in my opinion, the most interesting characters were the ones aside from the main trio themselves. Now hold on, don't hate me yet. I'm not saying that Yuji, Megumi, and Nobara are bad characters. I'm just saying that everyone else, in my opinion, is more intriguing to me. Sukuna, Inumaki, Maki, Nanami, and my personal goat Yuta are just people I kind of would rather see on screen. In my opinion. But again, the main star of the show is Gojo. He's the guy people have said that they'd want an entire anime on. They'd want to see him as the main character because there's so much about him that feels both human and uncanny. People wanted to know more about him, and what do you know? We got just that. The start of season 2 was unlike anything the rest of the show gave us in the best way possible. Cause unlike the main guys, this trio consisted of people that were just as interesting as one another. Yes, even the one with like 3 minutes of total screen time. Starting with the one that stole the show in the first place and many people's wallets, Gojo is one of the only characters out there that many have titled overrated, but I think is the complete opposite. I genuinely believe that Gojo is a severely underrated character. Huh? The most popular character in the show is underrated? I must be out of my mind. Maybe, but not about this. See, many people only really like Gojo on a surface level, which isn't a bad thing, don't get me wrong. He's the cool and badass character that everyone just loves seeing on screen. The fact that the villain's entire plan is figuring out a way to beat this guy, and the fact that the good guy's plan, for the most part, is wait for Gojo to save us, shows just how insanely powerful he is. Not to mention he's ridiculously pretty. Have I mentioned how pretty he is? Oh my god. But I don't see enough people talk about the genius writing for his character, and how well it parallels to Geto. He starts out in the season as this egotistical guy who doesn't actually care too much about protecting regular people, because he kind of sees them as below him. And to be fair, why wouldn't he? His very birth shifted the balance of this entire world. He has every right to believe that he should be considered a god. Comparing this to Geto, who believes that it's their duty to protect the weak because they can't protect themselves, two guys whose ideologies couldn't be any more different, but are still best friends anyway. Along with her friend who's straight up in the middle because she's almost indifferent to the entire thing. Three friends who don't match at all, but at the end of the day, what comes first is the fact that they are indeed friends. The bond that these three have together is one of my favorite aspects of this arc because it's really cute to just see these characters hanging out and having organic banter with each other. The dialogue between these three just feels so realistic, and they really do feel like teenagers. And yet, despite their love for each other, it wouldn't last forever. And that's due to one thing, or more specifically, one person. Toji. Every single manga reader on the planet was hyping this man up to the point where a jacked person wearing a tight black shirt and loose white pants was titled the Toji fit, which is also another cosplay you'll see everywhere in conventions. Crazy how much people admire this man considering I basically am Toji in real life. Anyway, I really didn't know what to expect from Toji, so when he finally came in the show, I did too. I'm joking, sorry. I for sure didn't expect him to make the great Satoru Gojo his bitch though. Then Toji proceeded to not only tear Geto apart, but also shot this middle schooler in the head right in front of him. And this was the day where everything changed for the characters of the show. This one incident was the cause for the entire series. I'm not exaggerating. Toji just trying to make some bread caused the entire series to happen, because there was a change to both Gojo and Geto after this. Riko's death fundamentally changed their perspectives on society. But despite suffering the same exact event, they both went in dramatically different directions with it. Gojo realized that his strength could have prevented Riko's death, so his status as the strongest in the world wasn't just a privilege that he was born with, but a duty that he now feels he needs to do right by. The stronger he gets, the more he can fight back against the things in the world that can hurt his friends. But Geto, on the other hand, isn't that strong. He never got to get his revenge on Toji the way Gojo did, because he simply wasn't strong enough. Gojo, he was the more powerful one. He was the one everyone could rely on. So what could he, Geto, possibly do? Is he destined to just watch suffering around him because he's not powerful enough to do anything about it? Then he realizes that all the suffering in the world, all the curses in the world, are caused by people weaker than him. The damn non-sorcerers, the normal people, are the reason there's suffering in the world to begin with. And if there's one thing he's more powerful than, it's normal humans. If he can destroy all of these people, then he would have tackled the root cause of the problem. He would have made a difference. He, not Gojo, can be the one to save people. In Gojo's perspective, he needs to get stronger so that no one will ever get hurt again. But in Geto's perspective, he needs to get stronger so that no one can ever get hurt again. Similar thoughts, but different paths. Their time as teammates eventually come to a close, despite their previous friendship being a clear elephant in the room. And speaking of friendship, aren't we missing someone? Yeah, we are. The third of this trio. Shoko. And her being forgotten by both the audience and Gojo and Geto themselves is kind of what makes me admire her character too. I said earlier that Shoko is also a great character despite having like no screen time, but I think that no screen time really represents how tragic the fallout between Gojo and Geto was, because Shoko was right in the middle of that. Before and after the Toji incident, Shoko has always been the neutral one. While Gojo goes through a positive character arc and Geto goes through a negative character arc, Shoko is what you'd like to call the flat character, the one whose ideals never change. See, Shoko is not a fighter. She's a healer, but not just some random forgettable healer. In the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, being able to heal with the reverse curse technique is something almost nobody knows how to do. Hell, Gojo couldn't even figure out how to heal himself until he nearly died. But Shoko takes it to another level, and that made her so valuable to the point where the Jujutsu Society made it so that she isn't allowed to go on any combat missions, because the world can't risk losing someone that powerful. This means that she's usually holed up in the school while her friends are going out on dangerous missions, and she just has to wait and hope they come back safe, or even just alive. However, all that time alone definitely caught up to her. You know the term, there's always a duo in a trio, and that's why trios never work? This is the perfect example of that. Gojo and Geto are clearly best friends, and the fact that she couldn't go on missions with them meant that the distance between her and her friends was widening, and there literally wasn't anything she could do about it. Then, everything changes when Geto leaves. One of her best friends just abandoned her for what she perceives is a childish dream. And Gojo, the one that she still sees around, no longer spends as much time with her because he's so busy on missions. What hurts the most is the fact that Gojo years later says that he's alone. But Shoko says, I was there, wasn't I? What do you mean alone, you idiot? Gojo lost his best friend in that arc, but Shoko lost both of hers, despite one of them still being right there. I love this arc and these characters so much. Again, I'm not shitting on Yuji, Megumi, nor Nobara. I just don't think they've given me this much depth as how do you say this? I just don't think they've given me this much depth as depth? I just don't think they've given me this much depth of oh my god. I just don't think they've given me this much depth as yet. Though, I am really excited to see how they go moving forward. So far though, these three are my personal favorite trio in Jujutsu Kaisen, and hopefully, I got some of you to realize why. I swear to god, if Shoko dies in any way in the future, I'm gonna scream!